He was a bodyguard, hired to protect her, but behind those quiet eyes was a storm waiting to ruin everything. This is not a love story, this is obsession written in shadows and heat. I didn't ask for a bodyguard, especially not one like him. It started in the private lobby of my father's glass tower in Gangnam, the kind of place that smells like money, power, and fear. I was used to all three. What I wasn't used to wasn't. He stepped off the elevator like he belonged to another world, dressed in black on black, combat boots white in marble, a storm in human form. His jawline could have been carved by war, his lip pierced with a silver ring that shimmered when light caught it, tattoos inked beneath his cuffs barely visible, like secrets he wore for himself alone. And then there was his eyes. God, his eyes. They didn't just look at me, they devoured me, like he was already thinking about what I taste like when I bit. He didn't bow, didn't greet me, just stood there, lips curved in a smirk, so arrogant it made my spine straighten. John, my father said, stepping beside him, but everyone calls him Cook. He will be with you 24/7 from now on. I blinked, trying to not stare. Excuse me? You have been followed twice this week, he said flatly, and I have enough. Cook doesn't leave your side. He looks like more like trouble than protection. Cook tilted his head at that, like a fool deciding whether to play or bite. Then, without saying a word, he winked. A slow, deliberate wink, like he already knew I did see it again. I'm trouble, he said. He finally said, voice low, rough with something that made my stomach twist. But I'm very good at keeping other men away. He didn't wait for permission. He fell in behind me as we left, the heat of his gaze burning holes through the back of my neck. I could feel him watching my hair, my heels, the silver basket at the tip of my neck. He walked like he owned the floor beneath him, like he owned me. The black SUV was silent except for the hum of the engine and the storm starting to build in the sky. Cook sat across from me, legs spread wide, one arm draped over the back seat like he belonged there, like I belonged to him. He watched me without shame, not just glancing, watching. Unblinking, predatory, like I was the puzzle he wanted to rip apart piece by piece. You always stare like that? I asked, voice clipped. Only when I'm interested, he replied. I scoffed. You're not supposed to be interested. He smiled then, sharp and slow. Not the kind of smile you trust, the kind that ruins you. I know, he said. Back at the penthouse, he followed me up to the 28th floor, silent as a shadow. When the elevator door opened, I stepped into my world of crystal, chandeliers, and velvet furniture, and he followed without waiting to be invited. He didn't speak. But I could feel his eyes on my back, my hips, the curve of my thighs under the silk dress. Every second felt like a match between struck. Finally, I turned. This is my home, I said. You're here to guard me, not stare at me like you're planning what position to pin me in. His eyes dropped slowly to my mouth, then to my chest, then back to my eyes. You know, if I were planning that, he said, voice like gravel and heat. He stepped closer. One step, two. I backed up instinctively. Under my shoulders hit the glass window behind me. He stopped just short of touching me, not close enough to touch, but close enough that I felt the heat of his breath on my lips. You think I'm here to protect your body, he whispered, voice darker now. But if I lose control, he leaned in, mouth brushing my hair. It won't be from bullets I save you. My breath hitched. He didn't move. He didn't need to. He already wrapped himself around my thoughts. He stepped back. He left the room, and I stood there, trembling and burning. The hair hadn't moved since he left the room. I stood in front of the glass wall, trying to catch my breath, pulse still hammering when his voice had touched my skin. He didn't lay an hand on me, but I felt like he did pin my soul to the glass, and the worst part, I liked it. Later that night, the penthouse was silent, shadows long across the marble floors. I padded toward the kitchen, barefoot, in an oversized tea, needing water or maybe a cold shower or both. As I opened the fridge, a voice came low behind me. You shouldn't walk around like that. I jumped, spun. He leaned in the doorway, half in shadows, black shirt clinging to him, arms folded, tattoo speaking beneath his sleeves. What are you, the fashion police? I muttered, annoyed at how my voice trembled. No, his eyes dragged down my legs, but I'm not blind. My hand clenched around the glass. I live here. You're the one lurking in corners. He stepped forward, slow, dangerous, like he knew I wouldn't stop him. I wasn't lurking. He came closer. I was watching. I stepped back until my back hit the fridge again, always pinning me to something. His body didn't touch mine. The heat between us screamed for contact. He planted one hand behind my head on the fridge. You walk like you don't know what you're doing to people, he said, but I think you know. My breath caught, his gaze dropped to my lips. You're not here to flirt with me, I whispered. I'm not flirting. His voice was dark, barely above breath. I'm warning you. About what? Me. He didn't kiss me, not yet. He just stood there so close so I could feel his breath when he spoke, his voice sliding down my spine like silk over a knife, and then his hand reached up. But instead of touching my skin, he gripped the fridge door beside my head, opened it, and grabbed the bottle of water from behind me. Or just brushed, just slightly, on purpose. Drink, he said, holding the bottle out. You're burning. And then he was gone, leaving me holding cold water against flushed skin. The next day, security briefing. My father had arranged a closed door meeting in his study. Cook stood beside me the entire time, silent, unreadable, completely professional. You did think he hadn't cornered me in the kitchen last night, hadn't looked at me like I was something he wanted to destroy, just to see how I scream. He stood behind my chair like a shadow with a heartbeat, too aware, too calm, too still. When I turned slightly to glance up at him, I caught the corner of his mouth twitch into a smirk, like he knew I was thinking about red flag, red flag, red flag. But I didn't look away that night, the balcony. I found him again after midnight, leaning on the balcony railing, looking out at the glittering seals skyline like it bored him. He didn't turn when I stepped out. You always watch the city like this, I asked softly. Only when I need to remind myself not to want things I shouldn't. My breath caught. The air between us tensed. You're talking about me? He finally turned, slow, deliberate. His eyes burned under the moonlight. You think I'm good at hiding it? I swallowed hard. He stepped closer, not touching, but too close again. Always too close. I see the way you look at me when you think I'm not watching. He murmured. I always see you. I leaned back against the railing, suddenly breathless. You don't scare me. You should. His hand came down on either side of me, gripping the edge of the balcony behind me, trapping me between his arms. I don't do soft. He crawled near my ear. I don't do slow. And if you let me any closer, he leaned in, breath coasting across my lips. I won't start. I wanted him to stop. I wanted him to stay. I wanted him to ruin me. But he pulled away just before it broke. Not yet, he murmured, as if warning himself. Why? I whispered. Because if I touch you now, his voice cracked slightly. I won't touch you like a bodyguard. A moment alone at the gala turns into something darker. He finally touches her, but just once. Someone tries to harm her, and Cook loses control. The ballroom shimmered with crystal, chandeliers, and too many secrets. My father's charity gala was full of politicians, CEOs, and men with blood on their hands dressed in $1,000 suits. I wore red, of course, not fashion, for power, and because I wanted him to look at me, and he did. The second I walked in, I felt it, his eyes, like a storm pressing against my spine. He was stationed by the door, dressed in black tux that couldn't hide the dangers underneath. 𝗵𝗲𝗍, eyes scanning the room like a mission, but they stopped on me and never moved. He watched like I was the only threat here. Later, behind the curtained hallway, I slipped away between toast and handshakes, breathing in the silence behind the thick velvet drapes that divided the ballroom from the west corridor, and then you're not supposed to be alone. His voice, dark and low, came from the shadows behind me. I turned. He stepped out from behind a marble pillar and I stopped breathing. Tux undone. Shirt unbuttoned just enough to show the ink curling across his chest. His tie hung loose like a noose he refused to wear right. One side of his mouth twitched up into an signature smirk. You're following me, I said. Always, he whispered. Why? I asked. He stepped closer because if someone else found you back here, his voice dropped an octave. I did do something regrettable. My heart jumped. You're supposed to protect me, not obsess over me. He didn't smile this time. Too late. I backed up a step. He followed. Another step. My back hit the wall. Always the wall. He braced one arm beside my head, the other coming up slowly, not to touch me, just hovering near my cheek, fingers curled. Say the word. He whispered, eyes blazing, and I will walk away. I didn't. I couldn't. His hand come closer, stopping just before my skin met, his knuckles lowering, hovered near my jaw like he was at war with himself. I felt the electricity radiating from his fingertips. I dream about this, he said, voice so soft. It was nearly broken. You, this close, my hand right here, but in the dream. His eyes flicked to my lips. I don't stop. My breath hitched, then don't. The words fell out of me like glass, and just once he touched me. His knuckles pressed along my jawline, light as a breath, tracing the edge of my face like I was something holy and forbidden all at once. His eyes closed for half a second, and then, Miss! A guard's voice shouted from the ballroom. The moment shattered like glass. Cook spun and flying to his earpiece talk. He stepped in front of me instantly, every inch of his body, coiled and lethal. Copy that. Stay with her. Don't let anyone in. He turned back to me, voice low and firm. Stay behind me. The attack, the hallway exploded in chaos. A masked man burst in front of the friend from the east stairwell, armed, wild-eyed, shouting something I couldn't hear over the blood pounding in my ears. Cook moved like a lightning. One moment he was in front of me, the next he tackled a man to the wall, disarmed him, and slammed him to the ground with brutal precision. His fist didn't stop after the man was down. They kept going until the security team pulled him back. His hands were bleeding, his chest heavying, his eyes feral. He looked at me then, and something snapped inside him. After, I sat on the penthouse coach horse later, wrapped in a blanket, hands still shaking. The gala was over, the man was arrested, but the moment wouldn't leave me, neither would he. Cook stood across the room, pacing like a caged wolf. I looked up. You didn't have to do that to him. He stopped pacing. He touched the wall near you. And that's enough to beat someone unconscious? He stepped forward. He tried to hurt you, but you almost lost control. He came closer, stopping just in front of me. I did lose control. His voice was quite dangerous, honest. That's the problem. He knelt in front of me, eyes locked on mine, hands clenched at his sides. I wasn't supposed to feel this. I wasn't supposed to need you like this. Then why do you stay? His voice cracked because every time I think about walking away, he leaned in, forehead nearly touching mine. I imagine someone else standing this close to you. I didn't speak, didn't need to, because the silence was louder than either of us, and his breath was trembling. She comforts him about the way he looked at her during the flight. He finally breaks, slams her against the wall, but stops just an inch. A kiss that almost happens and doesn't. I hear the door close behind her. It wasn't loud, but it sounded final. I didn't have to turn around to know it wasn't. Cook, I whispered, voice tight. You should leave. I won't, he said. His voice was darker than I have ever heard. Something had shifted, cracked, burned through. You almost killed that man tonight. I would have, he admitted. Silence, my hand clenched at my sides. Why? He didn't answer. Was it because he had a gun or because he looked at me? A pause, then both. My chest rose. You don't own me. He moved fast. Before I could react, he was behind me, his presence crashing into my space like thunder. I turned instinctively, but he pinned me against the edge of the vanity, not roughly, but not gently either. Possessive, his hand trapped my wrist above my head, not hurting, but firm. Undeniable. Say it again, he said lowly. What? That I don't own you, he whispered. I blinked up at him. His face was inches from mine, his breathing ragged, his jaw clenched, his eyes wild. Say it, and I let you go. I didn't say it because I didn't want him to let go. You're a red flag. I breathed. I know, he said. His forehead pressed to mine. You're dangerous. I warned you. His hands slid down slowly, leaving fire in their wake. He didn't move to kiss me, he just looked downward. I dream about this, he murmured. You beneath me, mine, screaming my name. I shuddered. But I can't do that to you. Then why are you here? I demanded. He finally spoke the truth. Because even if I don't touch you, I still want to burn the world down for just one taste. The moment he leaned in just close enough for our lips to brush. Not quite a kiss, not yet. Tell me to stop. He growled. I couldn't because this time I didn't want to be safe. I wanted to be his. Touch me, go. I whispered. But don't you dare to go soft. He didn't. His hand grabbed my waist, pulled me against him. My breath left my lungs in a gasp, but as he lifted me roughly, setting me on the vanity table like I weighted nothing, my legs parted instinctively, wrapping around his waist. His hands framed my jaw, his mouth hovered near mine. Then he kissed me, not sweet, not slow, wild, possessive, hungry. He devoured me like he did waited his whole life for this moment, like kissing me was a sin, and he's burned it in happily. His grip was rough, grounding me, climbing me, but his touch everywhere else was fire, trailing up my spine, my back arched, my finger twisted in his hair, and he kissed me deeper, darker. Not a bodyguard, not a friend, not even a man, a storm. And when he finally broke the kiss, both of us breathless and trembling, as he whispered against my lips, You're mine now. Say it, say it. I'm yours. I gasped. Louder. I'm yours, Cook. His mouth crashed back into mine, and everything else vanished. Dawn. We didn't sleep. We didn't need to. Wrapped in each other on the couch, breath tangled, skin flushed with the aftermath of emotion. We stayed there until the sky turned soft pink. His hand traced lazy circles on my thigh, still bare beneath one of his shirts. You ruined me, he whispered. You ruined yourself, I replied. No, he murmured. You made me want something I never believed I deserved. I turned to face him. He looked tired, but at peace. His demons were still there, but quiet enough, because they did found a home in me. So what now? I asked. He leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to my temple, the only soft thing he ever gave me. Now, no one touches you but me.